Welcome and good morning. Today is Wednesday, February 23rd. I hereby call the Public Service Subcommittee to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representatives Alexander, Jernigan, Johnson, Kiesling, Marsh, Wendell, Chairman Helton.
Here.
Chairman Helton, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we get started, are there any personal orders? I would like to recognize the state troopers that are in the audience. Today is State Trooper Day on the Hill. Thank you for all you do. Today we have 11 bills on the calendar. First item is House Bill 2089 by Chairman White. Chairman, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Committee and Chairman. Appreciate it very much. The bill I bring before you is brought to us today by the Police Association. It's a bill that also complements my role in education. And House Bill 2089 is entitled "Handle with Care." And what it does, already we know that a lot of children come from homes that are dysfunctional, and we call that ACE experiences, adverse childhood experiences. A lot of them have these things. So what this sets up is a process that's already in place, but this is going to make the records confidential and help expand it, is that if a police officer or law enforcement officer is called to a house during the night or that early that morning, and there's like domestic abuse or any kind of trauma going on in the house, there could have been a drug raid there could have been a shooting, and the child witnessed this. Well, he shows up at school that morning. Instead of seeing that as a discipline problem, what happens is that the law enforcement officers are trained. If there's any children in that home, they get their names, their ages, what school they go to, and then there is a system where they then contact the school, the appropriate person, whether that be the principal or whoever is designated, and say this went on with this child. And then they inform the teacher that if you see the child acting up or something, don't look at it as a normal discipline problem. Look at it that this child has gone through some trauma during the night or early that morning. And so it's this thing, it's called Handle with Care, and just gives our schools a leg up on students that may come into the classroom that day and have issues due to home life. And with that is the gist of the bill.
Chairman, do you have someone you want to speak about the bill? We have someone here to testify. We'll now go out of session. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Would you please state your name and for the record, please?
Thank you, Chair Lady. Maggie Duncan. I'm the Executive Director for the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police. Handle with Care is a notification or alert program. It is throughout the country. Tennessee started working on this a couple years ago, and individual cities and jurisdictions have been working on it. A couple years ago, the governor asked if we would create a consistent program statewide so that everybody would be following the same protocols. We wrote a grant, and so we've been working on that. So we help provide all the training for the law enforcement agencies. We work with the schools on their training, and we work on coordinating those stakeholders in different jurisdictions throughout the state as they put these programs in place. It's super simple. It says Handle with Care. It has the child's name, their school, their age. Depending on the size of the jurisdiction, it may have their birth date to make sure they get the right child. It does not give any details of the incident that they may have come across. They could have been involved in a serious car accident that was traumatic for them, as well as all the way to a domestic violence. So nothing is shared. That information remains confidential like it is today, but it just gives them a heads up so that the school's able to provide any resources for the child in a more nurturing environment instead of a disciplinary environment.
Are there any questions from the members? Seeing none, we will now go back into session.
Thank you, Chair Lady.
Chairman, do you have any further discussion on the bill?
No, with that explanation, and sitting in the Education Committee for years, this is a very valuable piece of legislation in today's world, and so I just appreciate y'all's consideration.
Any questions? The question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 2089 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you very much.
Item number 2, House Bill 1695 by Chairman Hicks. Do I have a motion? We have a motion and a second. Chairman, you're recognized on the bill.
All right, thank you, Chair Lady. Thank you, Chair Lady. Thank you, members. Last year, this General Assembly passed Public Chapter 518, which allowed health benefits for the Tennessee Highway Patrol at 25 years of retirement under the Legacy Plan. This bill goes hand in hand with that legislation in that it allows those state troopers hired after 2015 to receive those same health benefits. House Bill 1695 provides 80% of the scheduled premium or defined contribution of the health insurance offered to retired state employees to a retired member of the Tennessee Highway Patrol who would not be eligible for such benefit based on the date the member was hired.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, any questions? Question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 1695 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you, committee.
Item number 3 is House Bill 2450 by Chairman Weaver. We have a motion and a second. Chairman, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee members. So last year, we passed Public Chapter 382. The Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System member can obtain credit in that system by transferring their employer and employee contributions from a local government's retirement system back to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. When we passed that bill, there were a couple bumps in the roads last year, so this bill, the spirit of this bill is to fix those bumps so that we can make a seamless transfer of your retirement funds from a local retirement into a state retirement. And if you don't mind, Madam Chair, I would like to go out of session and defer to the department, Mr. Roy West.
Okay. We will now go out of session and hear from Mr. Roy West. Just please introduce yourself for the record and who you represent.
Thank you, Chair Lady and members. My name is Roy West, Chief of Staff for the Tennessee Department of Treasury. As the Chair Lady mentioned earlier, this bill was passed, there was a version of the bill passed last session that allowed employer contributions to be transferred from a local government to the state. Unfortunately, there is a federal rule that prohibits the transfer of employer contributions. This bill simply amends that and only allows employee contributions. And then the employee is responsible for the remaining liability. That's the summary.
Thank you. Any questions from the members? Seeing none, we will now go back into session. Chairman, do you have any further discussion?
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much.
Okay. We ready to vote? All those in favor of sending House Bill 2450 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members.
Item number 4 is HJR 731 by Chairman Littleton. We have a proper motion and second. Chairman, you're recognized on the joint resolution.
Thank you, Chair Lady. This is a resolution declaring our support for Taiwan. You know that China's been very cruel to them, and they're trying to get away from the control of China, so this just shows our support for them.
Thank you. Any questions from the members? Seeing none, all those in favor of sending HJR 731 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you, Chair Lady and members.
Thank you. Item number 5 is House Bill 1734 by Chairman Russell. We have a motion and a second. Chairman, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady and Committee. As introduced, House Bill 1734 authorizes a representative of the agency of a government in which a peace officer served at the time of the officer's death to receive the 3 Stars of Tennessee Award on the officer's behalf, provided there are no other surviving next of kin to receive the award. It also authorizes the Commissioner of Safety in collaboration with the Homeland Security Council to promulgate rules regarding the selection and administration of the awards, and that's all it does.
Thank you for that explanation. Any questions for members? Seeing all those in favor of sending House Bill 1734 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you.
Item number 6 is House Bill 2683 by Representative Carringer. We have a proper motion and second. Representative, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Chair Lady and members of the committee. House Bill 2683 is a bill to amend the TCA 8-36-308, which is a statute that authorizes early service retirement credit for emergency services, medical services, personnel, police officer, and firefighters to receive retirement benefits at 25 years. This bill will add emergency communications personnel to the list of first responders who are eligible for this benefit. The bill is permissive, and 100% of the increased cost will be covered by the employer when they elect to provide this benefit to the emergency communications personnel. And in summary, it's just allowing emergency communications personnel to be eligible for an early retirement if the employing entity has elected to offer this benefit, and it would require the employing entity to cover 100% of the increased cost necessary. So with this bill, I would ask for your favorable consideration.
Thank you. We do have someone here to testify without objection. We will, you don't need to?
No.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the members?
I've got one.
You're
Got it.
recognized.
Comment, Representative Carringer, something's different about you today. You look stunning. I don't know what it is, but
Thank you. Thank you, Representative. That, I'll tell you, this
Well,
is,
my colleague here is doing the same thing. I hope you all get a good experience of what you're doing. So it's, and I appreciate you doing that and trying to get a picture or a window in life what you all are too.
thank you. We admire you so
Oh,
much.
Thank you for saying that.
Question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 2683 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you.
Item number 7 is House Bill 2273 by Chairman Williams. Motion. Second. We have a proper motion and second. Chairman, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Chairman and members. This bill was brought to me by the Treasury Department. Since 2012, the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System has used Concord, or Concord Software, as its centralized system to manage the state's defined benefit plans. Prior to Concord, TCRS maintained multiple retirement administration systems for many separate plans and then combined them in the TCRS. This bill would authorize TCRS to procure a new system to replace Concord and implement other technology improvements to prevent systems becoming obsolete and maintain their functionality. This would happen once the bill becomes law. Happy to answer any questions you might have, or I think
Are there any questions
my old
from the
intern, who's
members?
now the chief of staff, could answer questions too.
Any questions from the members?
Yes.
Question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 2273 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full. Item number 8 is House Bill 2050 by Chairman Williams. We have a motion and a second. We do have an untimely filed amendment. Can you give me the drafting code?
Yes, ma'am. It's drafting code 14089er.
Okay, that's correct. Without objection, we will consider the amendment. Is there a motion and second on the amendment? Chairman, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Chair, lady, members. This amendment just seeks to clarify the definition of Israel and that it includes Israeli-controlled territories. That's the only revision between this and the original bill. It's the goal of the amendment was to clarify that. And happy to answer any other questions or talk about the whole bill once we get it on.
We are now voting on the amendment. All those in favor of adding the amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment is on the bill. Chairman, you're recognized on the bill as amended.
Thank you, Chair, lady, members. This bill as amended would prohibit the state or any public entity from doing contracts with those who seek to punish or boycott Israel in any way. It's limited to contracts over $250,000 and $250,000 or more, or those with less than 10 employees. This bill was brought to me, unfortunately, all across the world. There are companies who choose to not do business or to boycott Israeli business or Israeli-owned businesses. In Tennessee, since 1996, Tennessee has done more than $1 billion in business with Israeli companies. And so this would seek to preserve our longstanding relationship with Israel and support them in their efforts. So I'm happy to answer any questions the members might have. And I think if this bill finds favor, I think next week you'll get to hear from some of the members of CUFI. You might not. CUFI is Christians United for Israel. I'm a member of that group after going to visit Israel with Chairman Kiesling in 2019. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
Chairman Jernigan, you're recognized.
I've got no issue with the bill, but it's more of a process thing. So it says that a company has to put in writing that they are not currently engaged in any kind of, I guess that they support, that they're not entering into a contract for the boycott of Israel. If a company doesn't put that in there, will they get an opportunity to rectify that, or they just be kicked out automatically?
That's a great question. As it relates to Section E of the bill, it talks about how the rules are promulgated, and in the rulemaking process, that's generally when those decisions are made. But the answer to your question is if for all new contracts, if there is, those contracts would require that certification.
I wouldn't want somebody to get kicked off because it was an accident that they didn't do it. To give an opportunity to
absolutely
to fix it.
And I will take your concerns to as the rules are made, and GovOps is where they would be made and done. So my assumption is that we can make sure that that's included, or we can clarify it in the bill.
All right, thank you.
So just to better clarify, Representative, your thinking is there'd be upon the contract, there'd be a certain period, a number of days of which they could certify that.
Right. Maybe it's an RFP or whatever, they just automatically get kicked out, and it was an oversight or a grace period of just a couple of days to rectify that situation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Chairman Marsh, you recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Do we have a lot of, now this is public, right? This
Yes.
is not. Do we have many contracts or public entities that are doing business with companies or the countries that are boycotting Israel?
No.
Currently?
Not to my knowledge. There are, several years ago, there was a group or an entity that formulated and their goal is to destroy the nation of Israel through boycotts, sanctions, and so they've gone into communities all across the world, and they've tried to pass legislation which would do the opposite of what this bill would do. So our goal here is to preserve a long-standing relationship. I think last year we imported $71 million of goods and products from Israel to Tennessee.
Any further questions? The question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 2050 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Thank you. Item number 9, House Bill 2734 by Chairman Wendell has been rolled 1 week. Item number 10 is House Bill 2547 by Representative Alexander. We have a proper motion and second. Representative, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Chair Lady, and thank you, committee. This bill I'm carrying for the Comptroller's Office, and this bill basically just streamlines the process for allowing for only one appraisal in a real estate transaction, and authorizing the state building commissions to require a second appraisal if necessary. and the members of the State Building Commission approve this bill.
Any questions from the members? Question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 2547 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full. Lastly, item number 11 by Representative Alexander, House Bill 2783. We have a proper motion and second. Representative, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Chair Lady and Committee. This bill is been a combination efforts between the Chairman of Education and the Treasury Department. The bill amends a current law to provide that any retired member may return to work. This also is just for teachers and bus drivers. I should say that. But it would allow them to return to work for a TCRS covered employer as a K through 12 teacher, substitute teacher, or bus driver without loss or suspension of their retirement benefits upon meeting the following conditions. The retired member must not be reemployed until the expiration of at least 60 days, calendar days from the member's effective date of retirement. And during the reemployment, the retirement benefit payable to the retired member is reduced to 70% of the retirement allowance the member would have otherwise been entitled to receive. The retired member shall not be eligible to accrue additional retirement benefits as a result of the reemployment. And the retired member's new employer must pay to TCRS the greater of the amount the employer would have contributed had the retired member participated in TCRS during the period of reemployment, or 5% of the member's pay rate. The retired member's reemployment shall not exceed 1 year. However, the retired member may be reemployed for additional 1-year periods. Previous law meant that they could not stay longer than 120 days in a classroom, and that has become difficult, at least in my community and across the state as well. Upon the reemployment, the retired member's new employer must certify to TCRS that the retired member has the requisite experience and training for the position to be filled, and that no other qualified persons are available to fill this position. And I think, well, Roy has left, but otherwise, he would have spoke if you needed any questions answered.
Any questions from the members? The question has been called. All those in favor of sending House Bill 2783 to state full signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Bill goes to state full. That concludes our calendar for the day. Before we close, does anyone have any announcements? Do I have a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned.